Hello, my name is Kat, or I was baptized in Ukraine as Katerina Yevgenyevna Hrutka. I wanted to show you, so this is Lviv behind me. That's, if you can see, the city center is over there. Uh, and I felt like it was time for me to share my story, even though this is a little bit scary. But turned 40 on October 1st. And today I woke up and I was like, I think it's time. I think it's time to share my story. And, well, what can I say? Born in a small village in um, Babychi, Ukraine in 1982, the kind of village that you don't see much of, one tractor for the whole village. Um, and we took turns and we helped each other. I remember when it was our turn to get the tractor would come and all the neighbors would come and they would help plant potatoes. And I remember I was there with a little jar around my neck. Well, first we were planting potatoes, but later when the potatoes were grown, I was picking potato bugs from each potato. And so I loved growing up in a small village like that. Um, I wasn't surrounded by phone screens and TV screens. I was running around. When it would rain, all the kids would get together and they would jump in the puddles in their underwear. Like most of the time, my parents couldn't find me because I was up in a walnut tree or I was on the roof or stealing pears from somebody. So after reading James Redfield's book, he wrote The Celestian Prophecy and the 10th Insight, 11th Insight. He also wrote a book called Birth Visions. And in Birth Visions, he states that there is a reason why each person is born to a certain place, to a certain family. That we either pick the parents or pick the place because we have something to learn from them, or there's or we have something to learn from them, or we have something to teach them. And I would always, ever since I heard that, I would always wonder, why was I born in a small village in Ukraine? What's the reason for that? And now with this war, it's everybody was saying I was crazy to come to Lviv. They're like, what are you doing? Why are you going to a country that's in war? What if something else happens? And I just couldn't. I was in Peru and I just couldn't move on with my life. My heart was breaking. I felt like I was feeling the pain of the Ukrainian people. And then I came to California where my mother is at, and I couldn't seem to move on with my life there either. And then you know, I was praying on the beach. I'm a big fan of mantras. I was praying for peace and something. I was looking for signs like, should I come here? Should I come here? And there was three signs that day. Like something prompted me on the beach that yeah, it's time for you to go to Ukraine. And then I got a call from my cousin and a call from my biological father. And then the next day, I was like, Mom, I think we need to come to Ukraine. And it's beautiful California. The people in California are really supporting the Ukrainian people. You get these buttons, stand with Ukraine. Our friend Helena Hostetter makes these beautiful hats with the trezub, which is the Ukrainian symbol for freedom. And so even when we decided and we already had our tickets for Ukraine, I went to Golden Gate Park, and they were celebrating the celebration of um, Ukrainian independence, which should have been Ukrainian independence. And I ran into some boys, some that were helping. They were collecting funds for the war effort, and I told them I'm heading to Lviv in 2 weeks, and they're like, "Okay, well, we have some suitcases for you." And so my mother and I, there we were at the airport, bringing 15 suitcases with us that carried tourniquets, that carried uniforms and different things that the army here needed. And so, um, yeah, and so I decided to come here to help, to pray, to I ran into a man the other day from Kharkiv, and he needs a job. Where he was working, everything got exploded or demolished. So I'm trying to find him a job, and um, basically, still trying to figure out how I can help. um, it's difficult to explain, I guess, when you born in a place and you feel that you feel their pain, and you can't really explain it. Oh, this is not so easy. I don't know how people do this, going live all the time. I'm having a hard time, and I'm only at 6 minutes. Um, so born in a small village, right? Um, Beautiful village. It's really upsetting how kids are growing up these days in front of screens, in front of they're not even outside running around, and I kind of wish every kid grew up like I did in a small village in Ukraine, running around. Um, it's a beautiful way, because you end up learning to appreciate local farming and organic produce. And what's going on right now with it in Netherlands is with the farmers being forced, well, not forced, but because of the strict environmental regulations, and they want them to meet nitrogen levels, that they're killing their own cattle. And I just heard the other day that a farmer ended up taking his own life. And so it, this is like kind of my biggest message. And so maybe this is going to help my thoughts, straighten out my thoughts. But being raised in a small village in Ukraine, and being raised on organic produce, and knowing the difference between genetically modified foods and how they taste like water, and living in Peru, where they've said to genetically modified foods when they said no to genetically modified foods for the next 30 years, and they have 2,000 different types of potatoes, and their corn is like, each kernel is like this. And so when you are raised this way on organic produce, surrounded by farmers, you have love. You have love for organic farmers, and the local economy. And you try not to buy things from China, because you realize that a lot of the times they're created in sweatshops under horrible working conditions. And so when you realize that, you try to buy things secondhand as much as you can. A lot of my clothes I get from secondhand, or I share with friends. And I try to support the local economy, because then I'm supporting the local economy, the local artists, the local farmers, but also I'm reducing my footprint. I'm not utilizing fossil fuels. Like, why would I buy ceramics from China when I could buy something like this? And this was only costing me $1 or $2. This is made locally, a ceramic made locally. And these two as well, and these were like $1. Like, look at these beautiful ceramics. So this is kind of a call to everyone to support your local economy, to be careful how you spend your money. And is it made in sweatshops? Like most fast fashion, like H&M and Walmart clothes, and all the things that only last in the washer for 1 or 2 hour, 1 or 2 times in the washer, are is called fast fashion, and they're made in Bangladesh or China, and they're using chemical dyes, and they're under horrible working conditions. And so, why wouldn't you want to buy things locally? Like, this is made by a local artist here. Like, look at how beautiful this is. Um, and she's an amazing woman. So you know, these I brought these I brought from Peru. These are made by local jewelry artists, and this was made here. This is made from wool. I mean, isn't this crazy? Look at this hat. Look at this hat. It's so cool. So, um, and so this is like, because this is the only thing I brought from Peru, but this took a whole month to make. Like, look at how beautiful this is. Um, the women of Peru just sit in the mountains with bare feet, and they just make these things on machines, and it's amazing. And so, like, it's important. It's important to support the local economy, to support the local farmers, especially when the food tastes 10 times better. Because I know what a real tomato tastes like when it's raised by a real farmer, not commercial farmer utilizing chemicals. I barely ever shop in the big stores. Um, Unless I need like coconut oil or olive oil, I always go to the bazaar, like once a week or once every 2 weeks, to the bazaar where the women, the older ladies of Ukraine, and they bring their own milk from their own cow. They make their own sour cream from their cow. They sell lettuce from their garden, and I did the same thing in Peru. I would I would barely ever no, would never buy things from the grocery store. I would always buy from the farmers that would come and sell their groceries, and on the streets they would be selling beans or milk or potatoes or whatever is seasonal. And that's the other thing, is how else do you stay healthy, is when you eat seasonal things. Like, do you see me eating bananas here? No. In Peru, I was eating bananas every day because they come from the jungle, they come from Peru, and they cost you pennies. Here they're probably not organic. And think about the fossil fuels that are used, and we're going through a fossil fuel crisis, energy crisis, war. So this is like a call for everyone to just get smart with how you spend your money, and are you supporting the local economy, because it's important now. Like, it's important. And with this war, I mean, I don't know if I want to get into it, because you guys might call me a conspiracy theorist, but I told myself that if I don't do this, if I don't say like exactly what I think about what's going on, I'm about to explode. And I'm so upset with what's going on right now in the world that it's just ridiculous. I was in India when COVID broke out. They started yelling at me for being on the beach, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? If there's a virus, it's like what you need to do is be outside." Okay, of course, not like time, but like sunshine. You need to be outdoors. This is, to me, this is common sense. You don't lock yourself in fear, watching the news with a mask on. You exercise. Like, the last 2 years, even though like some people were like on lockdown, I think I counted 24 flights. I went to 7 countries, 7 states. Did I ever get sick? No. I only got sick once, I think, in Ukraine. August of 2020, I got the weaker version of the virus. I was only sick for 1 day, 1 or 2 days. That day I stayed home. The day that I started showing symptoms and coughing, that day I stayed home. I pumped myself with vitamins, whatever, not pills, whatever vitamin C I could find. Ginger, lemons, I found cranberries in the garden. I found grapes in the garden, and I just like pounded and not boiling them. That's how you kill the vitamin C. I didn't boil anything. I did it raw, and so that's how I've survived most of the time from not getting sick. Before I get on any flight, I drink fresh juices, 2 days of fresh juices because to pump up my system with vitamin C, and then I do a lot of praying because like I felt that I felt that the virus is a low vibration coming from a dark place. I mean, I felt from day one that this was man made, not natural. And then now there's proof that it's man made. And then I felt that I was of a low vibration. And if I kept my vibration high, it wouldn't touch me. And it's true. I was traveling all over the place, never got sick once. I, um, I, and so I felt like that's how you go against this thing. This comes from a dark place, and you keep your vibration high with through prayer and mantras and meditation, also like a lot of staying out in the sun. And I never got sick. I never got any of the other variants because of those three things: the sunshine, raw juicing, and mantras. And so, like, there might I heard that there's going to be a new variant released in 2023. I don't know if it's real or not. I think a lot of this is about population control. Bill Gates has been talking about population control for the last 10 years. If you read Robert Kennedy's book, The Real Anthony Fauci, you will find that the HIV virus was even made. So all of this is about population control, including fast food, genetically modified foods, chemicals in the water, different wars. And so this is not a coincidence that there's a war going on in Ukraine. I don't think this is just about NATO and the West wanting uh, wanting to topple Putin. Um, but Ukraine also makes a lot of grain. And so, what's going on with the Netherlands, I want you guys to start looking into it if you have not seen it. What's going on? I want you to look into it. The farmers have been protesting for a couple of months now. I just heard about a farmer taking his life, and they're forced to go along with the extremely strict environmental regulations, and a lot of them have to kill their cattle. And I think that's why one of the farmers took his life. And so that's why this is a time to support the local farmers and hold on to your land and fight. Oh, and and like support the local economy and support your local farmers. Like this is very important because this will not only help them and support them, but also it's for your own health. Like I said, I don't buy bananas here because it's not from this area. So how if I want to stay healthy in Ukraine, how do I stay healthy? I eat what's local here. Then it gives me the nutrients, the vitamins and everything that I need to survive in this area. When I was in Peru, I would eat the things that come from Peru in the jungle and the produce there. I don't eat imported things from other countries in Peru. And same thing with the States. The States is much harder. You don't have ladies selling lettuce and flowers and potatoes on the street like you would here or in Peru. Um, but I would go to Watsonville in California and I would get most of my produce from the Mexicans in Watsonville. Um, they grow a lot of artichoke in Watsonville. They grow a lot of strawberries and peppers and tomatoes. And so I would, it doesn't matter where I am, I'm always supporting the local farmers, the local economy. And I guess that's like my main message. And maybe I need to split things up because there's a lot of things I want to talk about, like how to support your immunity. And that should be one thing, or how to grow your immunity. Because, like I said, the last 2 years, um, 20 flights, 7 states, 6 countries, never got sick. And, what do I do? Mantras, sunshine, raw juicing. Those things will will keep most things away from you, because what you need to do is start protecting your aura. And how do you do that? Mantras help you do that. Mantras, um, yoga, different breathing techniques. There's ways. There's different ways where you begin. I just love mantras, but there's a way that you can start protecting your field. You connect yourself to the light source, to light energy, and therefore anything that's of a low vibration, that's dark, is not going to come in and affect you. And this is not some woo woo thing. This is reality, because everything is energy. And so if you want to keep yourself away from the negative dark energy, you connect yourself to the light. And mantras come from the light because they're in Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, which the Vedas say is the language of the universe. And oh, it's sad how I have no viewers and no likes, but hopefully um, there would be people that will watch this video and give me feedback, since this is my first time. And okay, so talked about immunity, um, how to keep your immunity strong. I talked about support your local farmers. Stop shopping at the big stores. Just stop. You're better off buying ceramics. Like, look at this. Buying ceramics from your local ceramic artists, and or going to Goodwill, or just buy things secondhand. Um, I mean, like, look at, I can never buy things from made in China anymore, or sweatshops, because, like, look at this. Look at the beauty of this. Is handmade. I think I paid like $20 for this, or maybe $40. Took a whole month to make this bag in Peru, a whole month, and this is from either alpaca or llama. Um, you know, um, thread. So so support your local economy. It's important. Um, okay, I don't know what else. I mean, did I show you the hat? The hat that's made. This hat is made here, made out of wool. And so I'm not sure if I wore it already, but isn't this amazing? This is made by hand. This is so cool, huh? It's beautiful, made in wool locally in Ukraine. And so, with this war, um, I think it sucks. Of course, I think it sucks. It sucks that Ukrainians have to fight for their freedom again. I continue to pray for peace. I do not. I just want peace. Honestly, I know it's a little girl's thought, but I just keep envisioning Zelensky sitting down with Putin and straightening things out. And I think a big part of this is NATO. A big part of the problem is NATO. NATO made I mean, I'm not going to pretend. I don't know much about politics. This is just from the little research that I did and my gut feel. But NATO made a promise to Putin to not keep moving to the east, but they did. They were even doing exercises last year. And so it's partly their fault. It's partly Ukraine's fault for siding with NATO and the West, because that causes problems with Putin. And of course, Putin should never have invaded Crimea in the first place. This is not your land. Crimea is Ukrainian territory. You have enough land. Look at the size of Russia. You have enough land. And so there's a problem with all three, four actually, because the America is a big part of this war. And so um, I think the only way for peace is for Ukraine to remain neutral, not with Russia and not with NATO or the West, because that's what's causing problems. And I think that's the only way we can get out of this mess, because enough destruction has been made. Enough, there's just been enough. I went to, I don't know if you can see it. I went to a burial site in Lviv of all the soldiers that died that came from Lviv. And I don't know if you can see it, things like this, or you would see 20-year-olds, you know, born in 19 born in 1999, and you would see a whole, um, hu I mean, hundreds of grave grave sites, and it's like how much more destruction has to happen. And so I want this to be sorted out, and I think that's the only way is for Ukraine not to be with the West and not to be with Russia. It's the only way to remain friends with Russia, and we need to be friends with them because they're our neighbor. And being friends with America kind of causes problems, and so I feel that's the only way out of this. And so, not sure if you found this useful. Um, this is my first time doing it, so we'll see. But um, that's like my main message: is support your local economy, support your local farmers, work on your own immune system. Don't go along with big pharma's plan, because who knows what they're injecting into us. The Pfizer documents have been released. You can look. With Naomi Wolf and her team, they've been poring over it. They now know that Pfizer knew of the damage that these vaccines were going to do. They knew that they weren't even going to help with transmission. They knew, well, they didn't do the studies, but now we know that it's causing reproductive issues within the female system. It's um, causing just damaging the female reproductive system in different ways. And so it's best to be smart and work on your own immune system and not trust that of big pharma. Um, kind of do what I did. Follow my example. Raw juicing, sunshine, exercise, mantras. Increase the vibration of your field so that things of a low vibration, dark energy do not infiltrate. And keep praying for peace. If we can all visualize that Putin, Zelensky, and NATO all come and actually talk instead of throwing weapons at each other and threats, if they can actually talk, and if we all believe that it's going to happen, then I'm one of those. I want to believe that it can happen. And so I want the leaders to relook at the Cuban Missile Crisis and what Kennedy and Khrushchev did and how they worked together to prevent a World War III and how they communicated. And Kennedy wouldn't stop until peace was achieved. That's why they always kill the good ones. They always kill the good ones, the ones that want peace. Gandhi, MLK, Nelson Mandela, Kennedy always kill the good ones. But these are real leaders, ones that don't give up until peace is achieved, not the ones that feed the hungry war machine. And so, anyways, tell me what you think about this video. I know I need to organize my thoughts better. I just felt I had to get it out there. I still need practice in speaking. I realize that. And I'm working on it. And thank you for listening. Goodbye. And Kat from Ukraine.